Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Effective Communicator Leadership Skill webinar. I'm Michelle, and thank you so much for joining me. I'm just going to give it a little minute so that everyone can join me live. And if you're watching this webinar live, go ahead and put it in the comment. Let me know that you are here. Give me a thumbs up or a like, and let me know where you're coming from. You can do that and I will be able to see it. So I have a couple of different screens, so you'll see me from going from one place to another a couple of times. But welcome to the Effective Communicator. Like I said, I'm Michelle. I'm a confident and leadership coach who work with negative self-talker to help them to support them to discover the inner strength and beauty so that they can become the most confident person in the room and also enjoy the personal freedom. What inspired me to do this type of work came from my own journey as a person living with disability from a car accident when I was 11 years old. And this car accident took away my chance to look normal. I am 44 inches tall. I walk with crutches and my legs are disfigured. But having this physical challenge was not the most challenging part of my life. It was the mental chatter that was going on in my head, and that was making everything, very bad. So I was constantly shaming myself, and I was not speaking up. And so the fact that you're watching me on this webinar and watching me being able to speak in front of the camera came from a long journey. I was not like this, and I was never able to speak up in a public setting, not to mention in front of the camera. So I never liked my picture being taken, and every time I stand on the stage or doing a presentation, I was very conscious about how I look and what I'm saying and the message I deliver across. It's not the very effective communication at all. And so this accident definitely has a big impact and change on my life, and that helped me in getting to the place where I am. And so I came up with this idea of wanting to present this effective communication with you because there are key elements that I went through my coaching program, and also just within my life, I realized that there's so much of how we show up that can influence each other, and also we can influence how we communicate, whether our message is clear, whether we do have a message, whether you're doing a presentation or just doing a webinar in front of everybody or doing live. It will impact the message, how well it is being received and how people can understand you. So, which is why I wanted to welcome you to today's webinar at the Elevate Life Coaching, but we're talking about effective communication. So welcome. Let me just go ahead and share my screen with you so that we can get on with our webinar today. And again, if you're watching me live on Facebook, go ahead and put it in the comment. Let me know that you are here. If you're watching a replay, also put in the comment replay. So let me know that you are watching this. And if you have any questions, please use a comment box and just write a comment, and I will be happy to go through them as I go, and I will answer them. Let me just silence the other one. Okay, so let's get started. And I'm really excited to bring this topic to you because this is something that I'm very passionate about. And here we are going to share my screen. So before we begin, I wanted to share a little story with you. When we think about the effective communication, what comes up for you? What qualifies someone to be an effective communicator? And I was thinking, when I was putting this presentation together, I was thinking back to last year when I was at a big event celebrating the human rights with United Nations Association. And last year at our human rights event, we had a keynote speaker who came to our webinar, who came to our event. And her name is Emerson Forrester. She is the author of People of Pasadena. And I live in California. So she wrote a book. It's called People of Pasadena. And this keynote speaker, she's 9 years old. And she delivered the most amazing speech that night. And this 9-year-old little girl, the book came out because she had a project that she was working on as a school project. So she reached out to the people in the community in Pasadena, and she conducted a short interview and collected pictures. And so her book, when it came out, it was a powerful reminder that we all have the similarity and the differences. Her speech was powerful and effective because it touches everyone in the audience with a very simple message that we may be different, but we're all the same. And she inspired me, particularly that night, with her message. So when I was listening to her speech, I was really impressed. And then I thought, wow, she's such an effective communicator indeed. So when you think about the word effective communicator, sometimes we think about, well, that person must be a leader, or that person must be having a lot of skills in order to do this. But if you think about it, what makes an effective communicator is really the ability to lead. So this is a favorite quote that I really love. It's from Warren Bennis. He is the authority on organization development and also leadership and change. And this is a quote that came from him. A leader doesn't just get the message across. A leader is the message. And I think it's really powerful because no matter what setting you're doing your presentation in, or what setting, whether it's online or offline, in an audience, or just in front of a camera talking to yourself as you're doing a recording, I think it's really important to understand ourselves and seeing ourselves as leader, because we all have a message that we want to get across. So today's objective, and thank you for attending this event, is my objective is to help us to understand ourselves as the leader. And I will be introducing you the concept of energy leadership. And I'll go into much more detail in terms of what that is in energy leadership. What does that mean? And how do you apply this energy leadership in your culture as in a teamwork setting? If you're leading a team, or if you are a member of the team, how can you actually apply this material and be able to use it in a meeting, or even just online as you're shooting a video? How can you apply all these concepts into your everyday practice? So if you were to define leader, what comes up to your mind? Well, there's a couple of things that came up for me as I was looking at the sentence. Leader is simply an interaction where a blank occurs. And what goes into that blank? So for me, if you like to participate, you're welcome to put in the comment, if you were to fill in the blank. Leader is simply an interaction where blank occurs. What would you put into that blank? And so for me, what goes into that blank would be something like action. So leadership is simply an interaction where action occurred. Or leadership is simply an interaction where thoughts occur. You can put a lot of words into that blank, and that would define a leadership. Leadership is simply an interaction where inspiration occurs. So it's the influence, and the influence can be either positive or negative. It can focus very consciously or unintentionally, and the result or the impact can be either minimal or maximal. So great leaders are not only able to motivate, but they're also the one who can inspire and brings out their greatness in others and also within themselves. So little Emerson Forrester, she is a leader because her message is to inspire others. So she has great leadership. So everyone is a leader either by choice or by default. And some of us just kind of step up into that leadership role, and how we communicate the message that we share demonstrate what type of leader we are. So every interaction presents an opportunity that can lead and have positive impact on others. So the question is not whether or not you are a leader, and the question is really how well you lead. So that is a picture of me in 2016, September 2016, and I was standing on top of the so-called the Oh My God steps. And so this is at Peru, heading into Machu Picchu. So when we look into the world, and this is a story where I share many, many times with friends and also others, I talk about this story a lot because I was looking down from the Oh My God steps, with my 2 crutches and my backpack, and I was standing there and wondering, how do I get over that hump? How do I get over that barrier? How do I get over these steps in order to get to the other side? And that other side is a life that would be completely different for me. And I realized that, by overcoming that barrier, there's so many things that is possible as long as we set our mind to it. And there was a message that I wanted to get across once I got over that barrier. And so when we look into the world, or even into our organization and into our own lives, we may see and even consider communication as an event or a series of events. We may see and hear a speaker deliver a keynote address, or a supervisor conducting a performance appraisal with a subordinate, or a spouse telling their partner something important. And I got this response the other day. One of a friend from my group, my private Facebook group, and she has said, I need to attend this event because I need to have a better way of communicating with my spouse. And so, in relationship, a lot of what we work on is communication. And that's pretty much the foundation of how you build a connection and also how you create a relationship. No matter it's in organization or even just within our own personal lives. So we may see and hear communication events, and they may come and go. But we also get to feel the communication, and we feel the energy of the message, and also that's can impact temporarily or permanently by this energy. Sometimes you go into the room and you sense that energy, and from the presenter or from the speaker who's doing the presentation, you can hear the voice whether or not they're passionate about it, right? And this is something that I'm very passionate about, so you hear my high pitch sometimes every now and then. So our energy may or may not shift as a result of the communication. We can actually inspire others by taking action, or become kind of deflated and just retreat, depending on how we use our voice. How do we show up into our presentation? How do we show up to a camera? Or we may just stay where we are, just kind of continue on our path. And I came to this webinar, and that's great, but I don't get anything out of it because the speaker is not very passionate, and I almost fell down into sleep. And we have gone to those webinars where you just kind of you fall asleep because it's not energetic for you. And so imagine how powerful it would be if you can fully engage your family, you can fully engage your group, you can fully engage within an organization in its mission, and motivate these members who's sitting on your team to start taking the path towards success. If you can imagine the opportunity every organization may have, or groups and family, that will just naturally and continuously learn and grow and also achieve. So this is the power of energetic and dynamic communication. And this is why, in order for us to talk about effective communication, we must first talk about the energy leadership. Because how you show up to your presentation, how you show up to the camera, will fully determine how fully engaged you are between your audience and whether or not people will be listening to you. And so because the communication takes place at several different levels, I wanted to go into detail of, what does that energy means? Like, how do we even play around with that energy that I've been talking about? So if you think about the world, we are all energy, and energy cannot be created or destroyed, as Albert Einstein has said. It can only be changed from one form to another. So the example that I have used earlier, it has to do with positive energy that you go into the room and you sense there's a happiness in that room, or you go to the meeting and there's something is just kind of off. There's someone just kind of sending out that vibe that you don't really enjoy. And that is the whole idea behind energy. And that's how we influence each other. So there are two types of energy, the catabolic energy and anabolic energy. Most of us understand it as positive energy or negative energy. So catabolic energy are energy that consists of worry, frustration, blaming, and it's ultimately very destructive. And if you leave it unchecked, it can actually create a lot of negative impact on you. So depression, anxiety, or just creating a toxic environment within the team. So those are considered as catabolic energy. If you want to call it negative, you can, but I per energy leadership premises, this is called catabolic energy. The anabolic energy are energy that are constructive. It's full of creativity and it motivate and inspire others who want to do extraordinary things. And it also influences positive outcome. And it creates incredible changes within every area of people's lives. So the anabolic energy is something that builds you up. It lifts you up and keeps you motivated and inspired. And from the example that I gave earlier at the beginning, the story I gave in the beginning of the presentation, Emerson Forrester, what she was demonstrating is that high anabolic energy coming up from a 9-year-old. What are some of the characteristics for a catabolic leader? Now, if you wanted to think about, in a presentation setting, you can think of it as someone, your presenter or someone that just kind of imagine what would be that catabolic presenter look like for you. The one who's doing that presentation, who's monotone all the time and don't have a lot of changes in their voice and kind of just going through these very boring subject, and they don't have any way of waking you up or engaging. That sounds very catabolic, right? And that all that has to do with just a change of voice, how passionate you are and what type of energy that you bring into your presentation. It will help to get people engaged and get people involved. So a catabolic leaders or catabolic presenter, if you want to substitute that, what goes into that blank for you? So you can put that in the comment, or if you're watching a replay, you can fill in that comment later and just put in the sentence, a catabolic leader is, I don't know, someone, some of the word that came to my mind would be like, a catabolic leader is someone who rules, someone who's intimidating, someone who's difficult, or someone who criticizes and micromanage. And I mean, these are the type of words that came to my mind when I'm thinking about, catabolic leader or catabolic presenter. These are people who, trying to control. They have a great sense of control. So the definition of manage is to handle, to direct, to govern, or to control in action or use. And this is the dominant energy that's presented in these type of leaders. A catabolic leader or presenter controls others. So when I'm doing a presentation, catabolic leader will probably say, you know what, wait till I finish everything. And they'll probably get pretty upset if you interrupt them in the middle of the presentation. They tell others what to do and how to do it. A catabolic leader will keeping things in control, keeping others and in the relationship that's most non-powerful position. And then, it's very likely to complain to everyone around that, I just can't find any good help. There's no one who can do things as well as I do. So sometimes you hear that, right? When people are presenting, you come across people that would make such comments. So what would be an example of a anabolic leader or presenter? So then anabolic leader, those words that came to my mind would be something like inspiration. So an anabolic leader is someone who inspire, someone who motivate, someone who encourage and set example. And the definition of lead is to go before or with, to show the way. And I think there's a quote by John Maxwell is it says a great leader is those who knows the way, leads the way, and show the way, right? So that's an example of anabolic leader. And that quote is very anabolic. It shows the way to guide in direction, the course, and action. So the anabolic leader doesn't just control, they don't push people, but instead they inspire them with words, action, and personal example. So if you were thinking about doing a presentation, and maybe this is something that to create a change in your organization, or if this is a talk that's aiming to inspire others, what type of energy would help? What type of words would you be using to demonstrate that anabolic energy, right? Some of the words may be more inspiring, such as you ask them empowering question like what opportunity do you see here, or what ideas you have. So you start to throwing these empowering questions out there as you're presenting. That would get people to start thinking. That would get them to wanted to take action in doing things. So the energy leadership system, and this is a whole much of the basis of this webinar, is to introduce you the concept and the idea of energy leadership. So the energy leadership system, it teaches the individual to consciously choose and to use our ability to influence and to impact others. Why is that important in a communication setting? Because as you're using these words and phrases consciously when you're communicating, again, you have that ability of inspire others and into leading and taking action. So energy influences how we act because it forms these lenses through which we perceive the world. So we use 7 different level, I call them level right here, but you can substitute it with perception, our view, our mindset. So there are different ways to describe all these different type of energy that people are experiencing and expresses. And depending on which energy that you use, you may choose words during your communication or during your presentation very differently. So we'll go into each in detail. So this is a chart that I wanted you to kind of get familiar with. So the top chart is the energetic self-perception chart. And you'll see it's like a half circle going from number 1 to all the way on the top, number 7. So in the center is your emotion. And the chart will read from left to right. So the left is the core thoughts, middle is the core emotion. And then lastly, you have the action and result. Now, how does this work? So the chart reads from left to right, right? So every thought, every thinking that we have will create an emotion. And with that emotion and thoughts, it would lead to an action. And depending on what type of thought that you have, so say, for example, level 1 would be, the core thought would be, I lose. So when you're doing a presentation, the I lose will come in. Well, there's no one listening to me. Or if you're shooting a live video and there's no audience watching you, and that's really, of course, they don't want to watch me. You get into that mindset of, I am the victim. This has happened to me. I can't believe no one is watching. No one's interested about this. And so we start keeping our mind down to that victim mode. And guess what happened? What type of action do you get? You have no action, because then you're constantly thinking you are the victim and there's no one interested in watching you or hearing you. Chances are you're not going to be very engaged with the topic that you speak. I may not have any audience right now, but that's okay. Because I'm very passionate about the material that I'm sharing. So, when you watch the replay, I'm going to be so happy that you have watched it. And that's a different type of energy compared to the victim energy. So level 1 is the victim energy. Going up would be the fighter energy. And this is where the conflict comes in. You know, I could be thinking, well, I'm doing the presentation right now and there's no one watching. Why wouldn't they want to learn more about this? This is I win and therefore you must lose, right? So I wanted to fight for it. I'm going to push myself through this. And you know what? I don't care who's watching or who's not watching. I'm just going to do this because I'm the expert in doing this. And so it's a different type of tone and different type of attitude and different type of mindset that you're going to carry into this type of energy. And the action that you end up presenting, it would be that fight and flight mode. So a lot of time it's the fighting mode, right? So if you think of the management, where you're sitting in a meeting, well, when people start, you know, kind of going off and using certain words, it's triggering words, they feel very intimidating. So level 2 can feel very intimidating. Level 3 is the rationalizer. This is the mindset where people start taking responsibility, and there's also the forgiveness to start coming in. And this is the core thought around this is I win and hopefully you will win too. We start to rationalize things that's working for us, things that's not working for us. You know, I have experience where I am standing in front of the audience and doing a presentation, and they're like people checking their cell phone, there are people talking among themselves, and I'm standing there and I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. I'm just gonna come up here and do my presentation and go home. I don't really care, you know, what they're doing. And so you start to rationalizing the behavior of others and also the behavior of yourself. Moving up to the next level would be the level 4, the caregiver energy, which is you win. And oftentimes I like to think of this as, you know, kind of the mother energy. You know, mom is always very caring for everybody and they're putting their kids first. You know, I want to take care of you first before I care about myself. So as a communicator, as someone who's speaking, it may be that, you know, you don't want to say certain things because you don't want to trigger you don't want to get people upset. You don't want to talk about like sensitive topic because you know that some people don't like it, and you have great deal of concerning for others. So you don't want to bring those topic up because you want to care for everybody. So you win, and I'll just put myself somewhere else. Next level is the level 5 energy, which is the opportunity energy. And this is the type of energy where we all win or we don't play. And a lot of entrepreneur, business owner, they have this type of energy because when they walk into a presentation, when they walk into a meeting, they want to create an environment where everyone is on the same page. Everyone can benefit out of the topic, out of their case. So there's a lot of, you know, asking for opinion, asking for, you know, suggestion, asking for feedbacks. And that's where the communicator showing up as being opportunistic. And this is, again, it's a win-win situation for everybody. Level 6 is the visionary, or there's joy. If you look on the chart, it also say joy. This is the type of energy we always win. So you could go into a presentation having things prepared, and maybe someone from the audience do you a question that you was not prepared with. And you don't look at it as, you know, oh my gosh, you know, I'm being so, I didn't prepare myself well, but instead, in those moments, you see it as, you know, we always win. And by not able to answer that question, I can have a different way of approaching it. I can say, well, I don't know, but I will get back to you soon. So that's a way of looking at it instead of going into that level 1, the victim energy that we had talked about. Well, I don't know how to answer this question. Why are they throwing this question at me? And da da da. But instead, you approach it in a more well-rounded perspective in terms of there's no losing. Level 7, which is the highest level of energy or perception or lens that you wear, is this creator or the absolute passion energy. And this is winning or losing is just an illusion. And if you were to think about applying to a communication or presentation or a meeting, a creator walking to the meeting and just completely non-judgmental, So you walk into the meeting, you don't know how the meeting is going to turn out. Is it, it's positive, it's negative? You're just embracing every moment of it, and you just love that the ambiance. You know, everyone is getting together. You're enjoying that moment, and you're just enjoying showing up with your material, that you're doing the presentation or you're in the meeting. You're just in absolute passion, happiness. So each type of energy has inherited advantage and also disadvantage, and these can be really consciously used to reach a specific goal. It is also normal for us to cycle up and down on that spectrum, on that chart. On this chart, you can cycle up and down from 1 to 7 any given time. So it's very rare that we hang out at one particular level at all time. And sometimes, you know, that level 1 energy is very appropriate, because if someone is attacking us, someone is, you know, doing a personal attack, you want to kind of withdraw from that conversation and just protect yourself. Whereas, you know, for level 2, it may be that fighting energy. If if you see injustice and you need to speak up, you will need to exercise that level 2 energy and speak up for yourself, right? So there's a lot of advantage and disadvantage in each level, depending on your circumstances, depending on the situation. The key word is that you can consciously choose it. So there are 7 levels of communication style, basically. And I'm going to start giving you a scenario so I can walk you through each different level so that you have a better understanding of how might you apply this concept to where you are working or in your presentation, how you can apply this to your everyday life. So the scenario I'm giving you is that let's say hypothetically, you have a business and your business partner communication is very poor. And the fact that your business partner is communicating really poor, that will affect your workplace and make it very negative. And I'm sure we can think of, you know, a couple of people in our head, the colleague that comes to our mind who are always very negative. And you feel that in order, you have to confront this partner about his negativity, but is really concerned about how he will react to your comments. So this is the scenario I wanted to take you through and working on, so that each level you'll have a better understanding of what that is involved. So level one with this type of scenario, the thought that's coming on to you, it may sound like, why is he doing this to me? This is my business partner. Why is he doing this to me? I don't understand. He just doesn't care about what he's doing. I mean, that must be it. And so the words that will show up as you're thinking about this thought with something like, well, there is no words, because you're internalizing everything inside of you. Why is he doing this to me? It has to be me, right? He's my business partner. Why can't he just care for something? And there's no action. Generally, level 1, there is no action. The action is in the inaction. At this level, the typical reaction would be just to ignore and just hopefully it'll just go away. So instead of confronting this person, instead of confronting this business partner and talk about the behavior, the negative behavior, there is no action. We'll just ignore and hopefully it will go away. So that's how you can apply this level 1, the victim energy, into a real life scenario. Level 2 energy, you know, the same scenario. You know, your business partner is very negative and you wanted to confront this person. What are some of the thoughts from the level 2 perspective? So the level 2 would be something like, oh, he's so incompetent and I can't believe that he just doesn't get it. And I'm really pissed because, you know, I shouldn't have to deal with this. So that's more of the fighting energy, that fighter energy that's coming off as we're confronting another person. The words that we use could be something like this. Why are you thinking, what are you thinking about? Like, you're upsetting everyone and I don't have time to fix this deal. You better find a way to fix it right now. And those are the type of word that we may communicate by saying it, or sometimes, a lot of time, you know, within an organization, it will show up in our email. How often, you know, if you want to just kind of raise your hand, give me a hand on the in the comment, show me how often do you experience and open up email that demonstrate a level 2 energy. Like you better fix it now. Or can't you just learn from this? A lot of that upsetting and level 2 energy that would just pop up in even in words. Level 3 energy, how can we apply this same scenario and using a level 3 energy? So level 3, the thinking would be, well, there's got to be a better way to resolve this without too much pain, right? So instead of confronting my partner, maybe there's a way of resolving this without having that unpleasant experience. And how can I play with his ego to make him do what I want? So level 3 is about taking responsibility, but also it's about people start getting into kind of manipulating ways to make it work, to make things work. What are some of the words that may come up as we're thinking about this scenario of confronting a business partner who's negative? So the words would be example like, I'm wondering how you might get your point across to them in a way that will get you what you want without dealing with too much grief. What do you suggest? So it sounded more opening, more empowering, right? Than the first two level. Level 1 was really negative. Oh, we're not taking any action at all because we want to avoid it. We want to avoid the confrontation altogether. Whereas level 2 is more about blaming, you better fix this. And level 3 now is more about, well, maybe we can work out a way to make this work. What do you suggest? So that's level 3. One level up would be the level 4, the compassion and the caregiver energy. And at this level, the thought would be, well, I feel bad. I feel really bad for our employee, and they just need to feel heard. And also, I care about my business partner, and I don't want to upset him. So this is the type of energy that's more about caregiving. You're putting others first and thinking about how they feel, and you feel bad for them if they're feeling bad. And what are some of the words that you may use to confront this person if being very negative? Well, you may use something like this: we have problem, and I consider myself responsible because I haven't addressed these up until now. I know you well. You mean the best for this company and for our employee, but they may not hear you clearly at the time. How can we make them happier so they'll feel more secure and we can honor each other's roles and responsibility? So it sounded more caring, and it's more about compassion and loving rather than blaming or no action at all, or kind of just manipulating our way out of this. This is more about caring. We care about you. I care about you. I care about them. Let's see if we can make everyone happy. Level 5 is opportunity. Remember the entrepreneur type of energy. And so what would an entrepreneur do to confront their business partner? This may be coming up. Up until now, we're okay. And even though we have poor communication, I can't even imagine that where we will go once we take this to the next level. So it's about looking at the situation, making lemonade out of the lemon, right? This is not the best case scenario, but you know what? It's okay. We're gonna make the best out of it, and we're gonna take our company to the next level. So I'm still really optimistic about our future. What are some of the words that you might use when you're confronting this business partner and using this type of energy? Could be something like this: I think we have a great opportunity to better connect with our employee so that everyone wins. Let's brainstorm some ideas that we might be able to work better as a team so that everyone, including us, will benefit. So this is about creating that win-win situation. And it will even show up in the email. Some of the email that you receive, maybe you picked up some of the level 5 energy from that email. The person is really respecting your idea, your input, and let's brainstorm together and let's bring out the greater good for everybody. So that win-win situation. Level 6 is again, it's about the visionary. It's about creating that environment where, you walked in, you have that joy and you're just happy to be there. The thought that would show up for someone who carry level 6 energy and communicating in level 6 energy would be something like, what we're feeling within, we project onto others. Our words are a representation of who we are. This situation is a great exercise in self-awareness. So instead of projecting into that business partner who's all full of negativity, this level 6 start looking at it from, it's all coming out from our own words and representing who we are. So how can we create more self-awareness? Maybe I can help in creating that self-awareness and then hopefully lift everyone up. And this is the words that a level 6 would use. I'm enjoying watching this dynamic between you and the team. I'm learning a lot about us all in the process, and I see great future within us that got left out. So it's about enjoying that process, enjoying that moment, and just watching and experiencing all the changes within that meeting, within that word, or within just the email. So our words represent who we are. That's level 6. How nice, right? When you receive an email that says that, doesn't it make you feel, yeah, it's okay, even though I made a mistake, this person is very understanding, and the next time I would be careful in not making mistakes. And that's more empowering way of communicating with someone else. You want to empower that person so that even though there's mistake this time, it's leading them taking action so that there is no future mistakes. So that's a completely different mindset to use when you're writing email or communicating or just doing your presentation. So the last level is the level 7 energy. So the level 7 energy is the thought of, we create all we want each moment, and it's all perfect. So no matter, your business partner is having this negativity, or your team member is sitting there and having a very challenging moment, it's all perfect. We're just all here to experience that. And the words that you may use when you're confronting this business partner about his negativity would be something like, where are we now, and what would you like to create with me tomorrow? So it's a more empowering way of confronting that person. Where are we now? Like, tell me, share with me, so that we can both grow out of this experience, right? So it's that absolute passion. I'm enjoying this moment, and I'm gonna make the best out of our situation, no matter what. So what makes an effective communicator is that, a leader is the message. So as a presenter, as a communicator, no matter what setting you are in, the idea is that you want to be the message. You want to be the message. And an effective communicator would have a clear and concise message. An effective communicator would have great listening skills. Are you listening without judgment? Are you listening without your agenda? An effective communicator would also have the body language during their presentation. Are you incorporating your body language into the way that you're communicating? Are you showing your passion? Are you being enthusiastic about your passion? So those are the great elements for becoming an effective communicator. So the reason why I'm doing all this is because I am actually in the process of coming up with a 10-day speak up challenge. And what this challenge is going to do, it's going to force you, it's going to take you out of your comfort zone and put you in a situation where you are forced to speak up. And we all know that experience where we're hiding behind our screen, we're hiding behind our mask, the invisible mask that we wear, and oftentimes we don't speak up. Number one is because we don't have the skills for listening. Number two is we don't have a clear understanding of our message. We don't even know what message that we want to share. You may be doing a great presentation, but do you really understand the underlying message that you're trying to get across? Is that message coming across clearly to your audience? And if you're a business owner, maybe you want to speak about your business in front of the camera, in front of a networking event, in a social setting. How do you convey that message across? How clear and concise is your message? So this 10-day Speak Up Challenge is going to get you going. And we're going to be talking about how to eliminate that fear of public speaking. Number one, I think, just from my own experience, coming along this way and becoming a speaker, I remember the first day that I was doing my public speaking, I didn't know what to do. I have all these written notes. I had all these speech prepared, and I wish I could just stand there and reading off my speech, right? But if you have a paper blocking in front of you, chances are you're not getting your message across. So how do you get to that point where you're speaking in front of the camera, you're talking to someone, and that you can clearly, concisely, and articulate your message across the room, or even just across the virtual internet? So this 10-day Speak Up Challenge is going to get you to do that. It's just pushing you enough that it doesn't break you. So a couple of things that we're going to be focusing on the 10-day Speak Up Challenge is eliminating your fear for public speaking. And also, if you have a business, I'm sure you care about your branding. If you're not a business owner, you're working in an organization, you also have a message. You have a message in that organization. So how do you bring out that, your personal why? And I love to call it your personal why, because we all have a why. Why did I sign up for this organization? Why did I join this organization? Why did I, take on this position in the first place? Why am I doing the things that I'm doing? So that story branding has a strong message. And I want to be able to help you to get that message out so that people can hear about your message and getting your message out to the world. Whether you're looking to become a public speaker, whether you're looking into being able to stand in front of the audience and just doing a presentation with confidence, that's where I want to get you going. Because when I first started this whole speaking career, I was at a place where I was really afraid of public speaking. I did all my, well, actually, let me take it back. All my life, I've been doing my best to hide myself because my physical challenge. So when you see me in public, I look very short. I walk with crutches. So I was doing everything I could to hide myself from being seen. And now that I am a coach, I am a public speaker, I can't do that anymore. I need every possible way to make myself known, bring myself out and share my story, being able to stand on the stage and tell my story. So I need to do the complete opposite. So there was one point in my life, I stood up and I said, you know what? Enough is enough. Enough of hiding behind my invisible mask. I need to step out and I need to speak up. And that was the time I realized how big of a fear that I had towards public speaking. Every time before I go onto the stage, I have this butterfly in my stomach. Even turning onto the camera, I had that butterfly feeling in my stomach, and I was just anxious. Well, if I can stand in front of the mirror and just prepare myself with my speech, maybe I will be able to do it. And guess what? You keep waiting. Someone else is going to turn on the camera and go live, right? So how long do you have to wait before you can get onto the stage, or before you can turn onto the camera, before you can actually stand in front of the audience and do a presentation? How long do you plan to wait on that? So this is why I came up, I wanted to share all the skills that I have learned, and from this, creating my own successful brand, I want to share all that with you so that you'll be able to do exactly, how I did it and what I created. So how do you join? The registration is opening up next week. And so if you're interested, you can sign up right now. If you just go ahead and text your email and also your name to that number, to 626-214 8311. If you just type your email and your name to that number, I will keep you in my roster, and I will let you know. I will send you the registration as soon as it's open. And the registration is open next week. So I wanted to make sure that you get enough time because you attend this event and because that you've been watching the replay. So I want to give you that advantage of signing up first. So if you go ahead and just text your email and your name to that number, then I can get you onto my roster. I don't have a big group, so I wanted to make sure that, this is a limited number and space. So if you're interested in learning how to eliminate that fear and also just creating your story brand. I call it a story brand because it's your message, it's your personal why, and getting your message out there. If this is what you're looking for, I want to encourage you to sign up that 10-day Speak Up Challenge. And this is the number that you can text your name and your email to, and the registration would open next week. So, we got to hurry up. And so the program will start actually on the last week of May. So it's happening very quick, and so take your opportunity, and thank you. So thank you so much. So a couple of final thoughts. The final thoughts is that your level of success as a leader or as a communicator in life can be raised with awareness, understanding, and knowledge of how to apply various energy level that's available to you for any purpose that you use. So everything that we have covered so far in this webinar is really to get you to understand, how you show up during your presentation, how you give and deliver a speech will ultimately determine how well your material is being received with the words that you use and what type of energy is behind the words that you use. And how do you, turn on the camera and be comfortable and have that confidence of delivering your speech in front of people. And so by altering your perception about yourself, your work, and all those around you, you can create a very powerful and fulfilling and rewarding light. And that light is going to get you to share your message to the world, to the people that you work with, and just to everyone around you. So I wanted to thank you for coming to the event. And again, if you're interested in signing up to the 10-day Speak Up Challenge, I wanted to invite you to go ahead and text your email and your name to this number, 626-214-8311. So again, thank you so much for coming. If you'd like to know more about what I do, you can go ahead and visit me on my website at elevatelifecoaching.org, or you can email me at michelle.quay@gmail.com. And thank you so much for coming for this webinar, and I will see you at my next event.